Time governs physical reality through a predictable forward momentum. We rely on this sequence to remain unbroken, dictating everything from the orbit of planets to the decay of an isotope. That reliability was challenged by an antique wall clock found in a side street shop. The owner offered a specific warning before the sale: it doesn't follow time. The mechanical rhythm of the device was immediately unsettling. The ticking followed an uneven thinking pattern. A heavy pause preceded every movement, as if the gears were hesitating before committing to the next beat. This diagram illustrates the anomaly that occurred at midnight. The clock moves through the sequence until 12:002. Then it pauses. Instead of advancing to the third second, it repeats the strike, two identical instances of the same moment. We usually dismiss a glitch like this as a simple mechanical failure, perhaps a chipped tooth on a gear or a slipping mainspring. However, a mechanical failure causes a clock to stop or skip forward. For a clock to strike the same second twice, the underlying timeline it is measuring must be looping. The machine isn't broken. It is accurately recording a fracture in the sequence of reality. By the third day, the repetition evolved. The duration of that extra second began to stretch. While the clock's display remained the same, the experience of that moment felt longer, as if the interval was expanding. This shows the formation of a temporal pocket. The repeated timeline node inflates, creating a hollow space within a single second. Because nature fills empty space, this physical void creates an opening for foreign signals to enter our dimension. On day 5, the pocket was no longer empty. During that repeated second, the clock emitted a clear auditory transmission, a soft voice speaking a single command: stay. The clock is now a bridge. That voice is a test, a sonic probe, checking for a stable link between anomaly and observer. The glitch continued to multiply. The single repeated second grew into 2, and eventually 3 consecutive pauses every night at midnight. A paradox formed in the environment. While digital devices tracked time correctly, the antique clock began to pull ahead, generating extra seconds that do not exist in our standard timeline. This diagram shows the clock acting as a temporal capacitor. It is storing these fractured seconds. Every time the clock repeats, it adds another unit of energy to the system, increasing the internal pressure within the room. The physical environment began to react to this stored energy. The air in the room became heavy and difficult to breathe, a symptom of the atmospheric density reaching a tipping point. Localized physics are warping. The room is struggling to contain the mass of all those accumulated, stolen seconds. The entity inside the clock requires human attention to stabilize this process. By focusing on the clock, the observer completes a circuit, providing the steady energy needed to force the dimensional fracture wide open. On day 10, the pressure reached its peak. At exactly midnight, the internal capacitor of the clock prepared to discharge. At the 12:002 mark, physical reality ceases to function. The air, ambient noise, and the observer's heartbeat stop instantly. The only movement in the room exists inside the clock. Its wooden gears continue to turn within the frozen space. As the collapse completes, a silhouette becomes visible behind the glass. It presses outward, distorting the clock face as it prepares to enter the room. The entity speaks one final time, confirming the success of the bridge. You stayed. The observer was the final component of the bridge. By remaining in the room and watching the anomaly, the observer acted as a physical anchor. Their presence stabilized the breach, effectively holding the door open for the entity to cross over. Time is the structural barrier that keeps our dimension sealed. If your clock ever repeats a second, do not provide the attention it needs to stay open. Walk away.